Okay, so this is a prototype I built,
Okay.
and it's not completely fully functional. It's not the app.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed in a separate program, so not everything is clickable functioning. Um, so this is a test of my design, not your skills or CMA knowledge in any way. So
Mm-hmm.
there's
Okay.
nothing, you're not going to do anything that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to have you do a couple tasks, and I'll be taking notes of a couple things. But the primary thing I want you to do is talk out loud as you're going through the tasks.
Sure.
And so I just want to get inside your head. So like tell me, like when I tell you, do XYZ, you say, I'm going to click here because I feel like this is going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
or I expect this, or oh, I was surprised, or I am so confused right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably the hardest thing for people to do. So I'll remind you
Mm-hmm.
along the way to just kind of tell me what you're
I have
thinking.
no filter, so I'm just gonna.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to give you a moment to kind of get acquainted with this page and
Mm-hmm.
maybe just give me like a brief synopsis of what you're seeing here.
Okay, so it looks like I mean the first thing I see is physician roster.
Mhm.
Is kind of what my eyes are drawn toward, and then it looks like it's talking about possibly a roster for a specific initiative, like the description that I see underneath that. So I feel like I maybe got here through some sort of initiative portal or like it, being it's some overall initiative tracker, and then checking out the roster for that.
Okay.
And then yeah, I just see kind of like the columns that you would expect to see. Um, the physician, facility, specialty, and whoever the liaison or like DA that they'd be assigned to is, and there are like 20 pages like this. I guess 345 rows total. So
Okay, perfect. So the first task I'm going to give you is I want you to assign Tamara Campbell and Irene Gill to Tom Howard.
okay,
And you can use the mouse.
okay. So the first name Tamara Campbell, and the second name was Irene Gill. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I'm assigning both of them, it looks like I'm not sure. I'm like trying to think if I can just do it in one fell swoop, like both of those assigning to these people.
Yeah.
At once, but maybe not. Like the first thing I would just maybe do is see if this is.
Okay.
So I clicked on that. That's not.
Okay.
That's not interactive. So I'd probably like select one of these,
Okay.
and I might as well select both because it's looking like I can do both.
Okay.
And then as soon as I selected one, I see these options pop up, which show me my actions, and I'm assigning them to was it who?
Tom Howard.
Tom Howard. Okay, so I'm thinking that'll be this here.
Okay.
Because partially because it's like a little person and a plus, that makes sense. Like you would like add to this person, and also because it's on the far right, which is like where this would be, so that kind of makes sense to me.
Okay.
So I'm gonna click that, and then yeah, this is what I would expect something like this, a drop down. So this is pretty intuitive, and then I just would expect to open up this and see Tom's name. He's there. Then I selected him, and then it seems pretty straightforward just to save at that point.
Okay.
And then a little confirmation, which, yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, and then probably something I would look at like after that is whether this name changed, and it didn't. So like I wouldn't know if it would need to have some like I don't know. That's just something I would look at.
Yeah. That would happen in the app. It doesn't update in the prototype, but yes, that's a good observation. How did you feel as you were doing that task?
Yeah, that made sense. I think, like, kind of as I was describing going through it, probably like me, like, looking back at it, I think that the way that it's set up makes perfect sense. My natural inclination was just to kind of like click here real quick to see if something would drop down.
Okay.
But also, the intuition was that if I did it like by that mechanism, then I wouldn't be able to do more than one at a time. So it kind of makes sense to me that you'd be able to kind of select batches here, and then your options would pop up, and then kind of go from there. So everything was pretty intuitive, I think.
Okay, great. The second task is I want you to add all of the physicians in this table to initiative 3.
Okay, so in this table, yeah, there are like, since there are 20 pages, I don't want to do that individually. So I'm looking up here. This looks like some sort of like global checkbox selector.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess I can just select that to get all the physicians on this page.
Okay.
And then yeah, before I clicked that, I was thinking that it would select all of the physicians in the table just with that click.
Yep.
But I mean, this is, it didn't do exactly what I expected, but it does explain what it did do and how I can do what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So this text is fairly straightforward. And so I'm just going to select that. That makes sense. And then
you're going to add them to initiative 3.
so adding them to initiative 3, I think that would just be this plus sign here.
Okay.
So I'm going to click on that. And okay, we can only process 300 physicians at a time. You can add the remaining physicians on the next screen. Okay, so I'm doing 1 through 300. I think I would still keep on doing it this way. It seems like it's kind of initially I wouldn't know, like, okay, do I have to keep track of which ones I've already added or not? But it kind of seems like it's tracking that for me. That it'll like let me know, or it'll be apparent which 45 I still will need to assign in a second swoop. So I'm just going to, this is what I expect. It has a list of initiatives.
Okay.
I'll just click on add. And do you want to hear like what I'm expecting before I see it, or before I click it? Or?
Yeah.
So when I click this, I guess I don't really know what I would expect here because I don't know where I'm at within the app exactly.
Okay.
Because I thought I was already in an initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like adding it to initiative 3. I don't know if I'm already. I mean, I wouldn't need to. I guess what I'm thinking is most likely there's like another initiative somewhere that I'm not looking at that I would be also adding these physicians to.
Okay.
But they're still going to remain on this initiative as well. But I feel like I'm not on.
Okay. Think about this not in the context so much of CMA specifically.
Yeah.
This is like a completely fabricated scenario.
Okay, completely fabricated. Yeah, then I guess I'm just going to click add and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay. So this, yeah, it seems like it did for the first 300 and added them. And then it's now telling me that it's going to do the remaining 45. So that's cool. I kind of expected it to have some follow-up like that. Like it implied that it would in the last one.
Okay.
So I've successfully added 345 positions to initiative 3. Little confirmation popped up. Cool.
Okay. So what do you think about that task?
That task was good. I'm a little confused about the context, but it seems like in terms of if I knew that that's something that I wanted to do, add those to that, that made sense to me.
Okay.
Although it is interesting, I guess I would wonder why, if things could only be done in batches of 300, but it already automates that. I guess one of my thoughts would be why I had to click it twice, because it's de facto automated. I mean, it knew what I was going to do. It's guiding me through that process. If I wanted to add 1100, it seems like it would still be able to do okay, we're going to do 1 through 300, 301 through 600, 601 through 900. But I would just kind of be clicking through when it's really pretty much automated.
Yeah. Okay. You're doing really great with explaining what's on your mind. Not everyone can do that so easily, so thank you. Okay, so my last task is how would you export all of this table?
So I would think that I would just select the global checkbox again, which would be here. And I know that this works because that's what I did last time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also kind of curious just to click here to
Okay.
see. I don't know if those do different things or
Sure.
not.
If you, yeah, there we go.
Okay, cool. Select all. Oh, okay. So I guess I would select all. So yeah, that's interesting because before when I just clicked in that box directly, it just selected the ones that were on this page and then
Mhm.
gave me the option. I think because it knew that it was a little bit ambiguous as to what I meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
It like specifically guided me to decide between just this page or the entire table. But I see now that with that drop down, that's kind of cool that I can just select all in one fell swoop.
Okay.
So I do like having both of those options because I mean I very well might have just wanted, for some cases, just to select a sample or something that's just on this page without having to click like 9 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I would just expect to be able to export to Excel, and like the normal thing I see is like a little thing right here that goes down, telling me that something is downloading.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, I didn't
Mhm.
write that part of it. Okay. Those are all the tasks, so thank you so much for your time. This is so valuable for me.
Cool.